Greetings all and welcome back to the Alaska Bigfoot studies. It's been almost 5 months of doing these Bigfoot, paranormal, UFO videos every Sunday, and I'm super excited about it. Shout out to Jomo, his kids, and all the people who are watching out there. I really appreciate it. Keep tuning in for your Chuke Sunday morning cartoon goodness of Bigfoot and paranormal studies. So this week I wanted to talk about the possibility, I'm wondering if my little fire is going to sink into the 2.5 feet of snow as it gets hotter there. And I think it's already happening. But I wanted to talk about reports and the possibility of Bigfoot using tools and things like that. As we know, apes and chimpanzees, it's only in the last 10 or 20 years scientists and biologists realized that they were using crude tools, say sometimes fling weapons, rocks and sticks, and they will use a stick to get at ants in a little ant hill, things like that. So, and they are adaptable and able to learn. So it only makes sense that Bigfoot, supposedly being closer to a human type creature, hominid, would use tools. And we do get some really interesting reports. The most common one that I've heard of is Bigfoot holding a club or a stick, you know, as a weapon. When they do tree knocking, it's typically picking up a log or a large stick, knocking it against the tree. That's definitely the most common. But I thought it was really cool reading Baxter's book. I'm almost done with it. His book about Port Chatham, and in one of the reports, a local villager reported seeing a hairy man holding a club. And to me, that's just intriguing. So I did a little bit of research into it. Probably the most interesting story I found was, it was in the lower 48, but a Bigfoot was seen with a metal old style lunch pail, like from the 60s. And this guy was watching this giant Sasquatch come to the river. He filled it up with water and then just slowly drank out of it and just did a big gulp. He was using it as a cup, basically. So I thought that was really cool. And then the Sasquatch noticed him and, you know, grabbed his lunch pail and took off. Other people have said, you know, strange tools like a hammer maybe go missing, or a 5-gallon bucket was missing from their property and found, you know, miles out in the middle of nowhere. So it's intriguing, and I wanted to check in with Beans and Rob Roy Menzies and hear what they have to say about the subject. So let's check in with them. Well, this is kind of an interesting one. So I was reading Beans' book, got it right here, Abandoned.
Oh, yeah.
And he's telling the Port Chatham story. And one of the stories, an eyewitness described seeing a Sasquatch holding a club. And I was really interested in that. And it makes sense because we know in the wild, chimpanzees, gorillas have been known, especially chimpanzees, to use tools.
Right.
Have you heard stories, or do you think that they'll use simple tools and rocks and sticks?
You know, yeah, I think they do. I think all these nests that they find, they're hand woven.
Oh, wow.
That over right there shows you they're using their hands. I mean, so if they're that advanced to weave something, picking up a stick and whapping something is, I think they'd certainly do that. I did an illustration once of a Bigfoot with like a spear.
Okay.
Like a wooden, like, you know, and he's stabbing fish with it, right?
Right.
It's just out of my imagination. I've never really heard that before, but it's
Yeah.
kind of a question. It's like,
Right.
Would they do this? Would they actually go that far?
Yeah.
To actually use like weapons, spears? You know, would they dig a hole to trip a deer? Would they, you know, do they do things like that? Are they that advanced?
Right.
And I think they get to a certain point. I think they are. Maybe they're more advanced than we think they are.
Yeah.
But I don't think they use fire, so that won't give them away.
Okay.
But
right.
They
haven't reached that point yet.
Yeah. You know, we all heard them, you know, tree knocking, so they know what a stick is. I think they know what a gun is.
Yeah.
Those that have seen man with guns,
Some bears do, for sure.
sure, they know it's a boomstick.
Yeah.
Kodiak Island, they know. Even Admiralty Island in Juneau,
Mm-hmm.
the bears know what a gunshot means.
Yeah.
They know it's a deer. You know.
It's ringing the dinner bell for
Yeah.
'em.
So it's known. You better get that deer, and clean it, get it out, and watch your back because
Yeah.
the bears will be right there. But I don't know if Bigfoot will do that. I've read stories. I don't know if you've read those, but I've read some stories where Bigfoot's run out and pick up a guy's deer, like, hey, they run off with it. But I don't know. But I would bet that they probably do in some way or fashion use tools to some way. Rocks,
Yeah.
rocks being thrown. That's kind of a tool.
Right, and they're like in that caveman age. Like
Yes.
if maybe they were an offshoot before the Neanderthal or whatever, who knows?
Right.
And so simple tools and maybe
Yeah.
even like flint knapping and making
Maybe.
little sharpened rocks and sticks.
The one story I like, long ago, the natives when they used to speak and deal with the Sasquatch clans, and then the Sasquatch started stealing their fish, and then they started stealing the children and the women, and so all the men got fed up. We gotta wipe these guys out. So back at that time, they say that Sasquatch used to use fire.
Oh,
But after the natives decided to wipe them out and start killing, murdering every Sasquatch out there, they stopped using fire. That's a story I've always heard. I've read it several times, and I probably butchered it, but it's basically one of the stories I've heard.
because
Of
they're
why-
hiding low and they don't want to alert them.
And they just kind of adapted that way of life to hang low, otherwise they're going to come kill us.
Interesting.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. I've always liked
Yeah.
that, but I don't know if there's any legitimacy to it.
I like that too.
Yeah, but God, that would be weird if they used fire. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think they would use tools, at least primitively.
Yeah. I agree. Awesome.
So one of the lesser talked about aspects of Bigfoot is whether or not they have the propensity to use tools. One of my favorite sightings comes from Port Chatham, Alaska, and in 1923, Sergius Moonen reported seeing a Nantinaq, or a Bigfoot, walking along a beach carrying a club, and that would infer that possibly there is some tool use going on. We know that apes will use sticks and stones, primitively, but they're tools nonetheless. Chimps will take a long, sharp stick, put it down in an ant hole or anthill, and eat the ants off of it when they pull it out. And that tends to show that there's some abstract thought going on there, that they're able to put that together. They need a stick that's going to be small enough to fit down in the anthill, and the thought that when they pull it out, there's going to be ants on it that they can consume. They're using the stick, even though it's just a stick, it's still a tool for them to achieve the means of eating the ants. So I think Bigfoot probably can handle simple tasks like that using objects. I think certainly, there's plenty of stories out there about them opening cooler lids, going through campsites, and manipulating handles and latches. Probably something that takes more than a couple of movements to manipulate. They're probably not going to be able to figure it out, but simple lids, knobs, stuff like that, they can probably handle. I'm often reminded of instances where somebody will be in a cabin or remote location. There'll be Bigfoot activity happening on the property, and they'll say, well, the doorknob turned, but it wouldn't open. The door didn't open, but the door was unlocked. And it makes me wonder if maybe they figured out, okay, I have to turn the knob, but they don't realize they have to push as well. So that's what makes me think they can probably handle one manipulation of an object at a time, and that's probably about it. They can't put the turning of the knob and the pushing of the door together. Also, the NAWAC researchers down in the lower 48 have reported finding what they call nut crushing stations, where they'll find nuts from trees, acorns, chestnuts, what have you. They'll find the broken nuts on a stump, and then a rock nearby that appears to have been used to crush the nuts the shells to get the nuts out. So that would also be a form of simple tool use. And I don't think it's a far stretch at all to say that there's a good chance that they can use objects in their environment as simple tools.
Well, I always appreciate Beans Baxter and Rob Roy Menzies. I'm going to throw up links to their channel. Please subscribe to their YouTube channel. And if you're ever in the Palmer area, stop by the Bigfoot Art Gallery. It's just amazing. I go there to hang out and hear stories and just drink coffee and hang out with Rob. I go there once a month. It's incredible. So there you have it. I really liked what Rob brought up, where he believes that possibly they're still in the Stone Age, you know, where humans were in that age once. And I think it's intriguing, and that's what I believe is happening. I think they are more intelligent than we are led to believe. That's why they're so good at hiding. And I think that they are in that Stone Age, and they're able to fashion slightly sophisticated tools, like maybe some reports of them lashing a rock to a stick and making like a rudimentary hatchet. Rob has done some interesting artwork on things like that. But let me know what you guys think, if you think Sasquatch is in the Stone Age or if they're more advanced, and any reports you have of them using tools. As always, I appreciate you all. I've got some more investigations coming up, some exciting trips planned, even though it is winter. It's kind of funny, last week there was no snow in my little spot here, and how that escalated quickly. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Sunday morning.